imagine if you were executed without any real evidence. Troy Anthony Davis was an American black man who was convicted and executed for police murder Officer Mark McPhail in Georgia. Officer Mark McPhail was working off duty at a shopping plaza. He was providing security at night for Burger King. And there was a homeless man being harassed and intimidated. He yelled for help, and Officer McPhail ran over, and seconds later, Officer McPhail was shot and killed. It was a tragic night, and the day after the murder, a man named Sylvester Red Cole, who admitted that he harassed the homeless man, Cole told the police that Troy Davis was the shooter, and the wanted poster went up all over Savannah. The reward offer to whoever finds Troy. Troy was found the next day and convicted and sentenced to death. There was no physical evidence linking Troy to the murder, and 7 of the 9 witnesses that were there that night were witnessing against Troy. The other 2 said that Troy confessed to them, but later on they all changed their testimony. They were being forced to say what didn't really happen, and the innocence of Troy was falsely proven guilty. Troy did not. Troy denied shooting Mark and said that he fled the scene before any shots were made or fired, and did not know who had shot Mark. There was no physical evidence and no gun recovered. Troy maintained his innocence until his execution. Georgia State Prison was where Troy held on the death row and where he was executed. He was executed on the September 21st of 2011 after a last minute appeal. The United States Supreme Court denied his case and didn't want to hear anything about it. And in his final words, Troy maintained his innocence and said, "I am innocent. All I can say that is you look deeper into this case so that you can really see what's the truth." The execution began at 10:53 and he was declared dead at 11:08. I think that what they did was wrong, and they should have found strong evidence before taking any type of action. The Supreme Court denied pleading his case. It was injustice, and no one should be treated that way. They should have strong evidence and know that the prisoner is guilty before executing him. Everyone should be treated equally and should be heard before taking any type of action. If you put yourself in Troy's shoes and think about it, if this can be done to Troy, it can be done to any one of us. And I would like to end with a quote from Martin Luther King: "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." Thank you.
So Brandy is not here, did you guys say? She's not here, okay. All right, I'll make a couple of quick comments because I know everybody's anxious to get out of here. You need, you need a thesis statement hold together. You just tell a story, and it's an interesting story, and it's a current story, and clearly there's some controversy about it. But the point that you're trying to make sounds almost persuasive. I'm not exactly sure how this is being developed. You need structure for the speech, and there isn't really any structure. There's no citation of supporting information. You make these claims about the witnesses being forced to say what they said, and I don't hear any citation of authority, experts. I don't have testimony of any of those witnesses that say that that was the case. So what is your proof in this particular situation? The only testimony that we get in this is from Troy Davis, who denies that he is the killer. And that's the closest you get to citing evidence. Of course, it's equally as unconvincing as the evidence that you say was used to convince him. So what is the basis of the decision? You need to analyze this in a little more detail. Tell us what was problematic about the witness's testimony, or about the people who say that Davis confessed to them that he, in fact, committed the crime. Tell us what was problematic about the original trial and about the multiple appeals. Tell us why the decision was made by the Supreme Court not to review this particular case, or by why the political process has not intervened in this particular situation, if this is the miscarriage of justice that you say it is. I don't get any explanation about what it is in the system that failed to work, except that this guy was finally executed 20 years after the crime was committed. In that 20 years, what happened? We don't know. You need to tell us what was going on during that time. It's problematic. It just feels like I've got part of a story and not really a whole speech. The visuals, I think you do a nice job kind of showing us the images that are going on here. We get to see Davis when he was young. We see him when he's in prison. We also see the dramatic image of people who adopted the slogan, "I am Troy Davis," as a way of protesting the notion that this could happen to anybody. And I like the idea of that protest movement. That might be something that could be the focus of a speech. As I said, it just feels like it's underdeveloped. We've got a story and not a whole speech. Okay, thank you.